Hi, today we're going to talk a bit about socket.io as part of the Advanced Server Web course where we talk about Node.js. The application we're going to build today, or that we are going to talk about today in the demonstration session, will be a chat application. And this is an example of a classic chat application where we can see two different screens on which we can see different events. So let's talk first about the screen on the right side, where we have the first event connection. Then we have a second event where a second user apparently is connecting. Well, actually, that's the second screen, the one on the left, who just connected. And then we can see green and blue events, which are just chat events. At some point in time, we have another person being connected. There's a third screen, which we cannot see here. And both screens or both windows receive events from on. So this is a classic chat application where we get the illusion, or where we get the idea that two web clients are talking to each other. But we are talking, or we are creating, or we are used to a classic web application where we have a client making a request to the server and a server sends a response. So in the classic web application, it's always the client who initiates communication using HTTP with requests and responses. In this situation where we have two clients, it's still the same. It's this client who can make a request, and the server needs to reply with a response to this client. This is the second client who can make a request and receive responses, but it's always the client who initiates communication. What we would like to do in a chat application is to talk from one client to the other. However, this is not possible. Also, what is not possible is for a server to start a communication with a client. So all the arrows on this diagram are actions that are not possible in a classic web application. And that's why we're going to talk about socket.io. Socket.io and other means of socket communication in general allow a server to initiate communication. This client can communicate as well, but what is new is that a server can initiate communication to the client. And if this is possible, we can simulate communication from one client to the other. How can we simulate this? Well, when a client sends something to the server and the server initiates communication to the other one, it will seem as if this client has sent a message to this client. Actually, it's just the server passing the message around. Okay, how does it work? So we have a client and a server. Let's start with the server, and on the server we will use socket.io. How can we use it? Well, we need to install it first. Once it's installed, we can create an Express application, create an HTTP server, and from this HTTP server we can create a socket.io object. As soon as we did these three things, this file is available from the client. So you don't have to put a file in your Express application. It's just there because we are using socket.io. If you include this script in your web application on the client side, then you can call this function io. And once you call it, you receive a socket. So to wrap up, install socket.io on your server, create an Express application, make sure that you have an HTTP server with the Express application as its handler, and from this server you can create an IO object.